What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm Andrew. This is Aggie. We're here at Nexus Jiu-Jitsu in Folsom, and we have some team members, some guys who joined the team. So stoked about it. We got Mark Antoine and Ramiro Garcia Jr. Ramiro, we've had a bunch of back and forth messages and stuff. It's really fun. Keep commenting, and I'll always respond. But guys, thanks so much for joining the team. We really appreciate it. And hope to keep growing that. Also, Aggie hurt her back a couple weeks ago, really bad. She had to take some time from work and try to get that, and she's feeling a lot better. And then I blew my back apart last Wednesday. I didn't walk for 3 days. Was crawling around the house.
We're back to back.
Back to back injuries. But I've had 17 years of back problems. I've had 2 back surgeries, so we'll see what happens. I might need another one, but we're feeling a lot better. I'm mobile again. I can move, I can sit, I can do things. So we wanted to make sure to get another video out there for you guys. My good buddy Jason, AKA Yakzone, AKA Shaman, AKA the Jiu-Jitsu Viking, just got his black belt. Congratulations, my guy. Me and him have been training in the dungeons for a long time. Back when we were knuckle dragging lowland gorillas at the Lost Boys Fight Club in the freaking garage with mats in it. Really, really proud of you, happy for you. But he was asking about dealing with half guard when people sit out and they face their back towards you, so like a reverse half guard sit out, how we can play that position and be safe and offensive and not get our guard passed. I do think that it's important that you change the dynamic of your guard subtly, and there's one aspect of the position that is 100% crucial, and that's where my elbows are. And particularly my elbow by their hip. I call that the near side elbow. The elbow, anytime I'm dealing with half guards, the near side elbow is always the one closer to their hip. Your near side elbow has a job, and it's a very important job, and we're gonna talk about that. So we're gonna look at 3 scenarios. We'll get a sweep, if they defend the sweep, how we can take the back, and then if they go for the Kimura, how we can turn that into a liability. To the point where this has become such a good motion for me that I was in Hawaii one time a couple years back, in Lahaina actually, at Aloha Rolls. That gym, sadly, it burned down in the fires, but they're back up. They just got a new spot out there. Congratulations, guys. One of his brown belt students, he gets in the position, and the coach is like, oh, watch out, this is his favorite position. And I was like, that's funny, this is my favorite position. And he goes for the Kimura, and I take his back, and the coach was like, oh, come back and teach that. You gotta come teach that. And I was like, okay, I'll come teach it. So the position makes it seem like the person on top is dominating and they're gonna win out the scenario. But if you do a few things right, the way I like to play it, you're gonna end up making the Kimura a liability for them, and you're gonna take their back and be able to probably attack and finish. So let's get right into it, look at some options, and hopefully help you guys out when people are doing variations of top half guard. They're not always gonna be right in front of you trying to get chest to chest. All right, let's do it. Okay, so we're going to be starting from this half guard scenario. A lot of times I'll be playing with a knee shield, and there's a lot of ways to deal with the knee shield. Sometimes what I see people do is they'll start swimming this arm underneath and start bringing their hips around and dropping their body onto me here, playing this kind of reverse half guard sit out. And like I was saying, my elbows have a very important job here. Now for her, she has the option of having her arm under my arm or over. They might be looking for Kimuras and things here, right? And we're gonna talk about both options. Right? Now, when they sit out here, if they're wise, they're gonna bring their hips up towards my head, keep walking your hips up here and get my elbows way out of position and make me like this. And now I'm fighting here. I can't fight the legs. I can't do anything with my arms. And they're going to pretty easily be able to use their elbow to push my leg down and slide their knee over to 3/4 mount and start attacking options from here. Or maybe they'll just do a high step out, or maybe they'll just step over to mount. Who knows? There's a number of things that they can get into from there because my arms got put out of position. One of the main things I teach to my students very early on is we need to keep ourselves pulled in, right? I don't want extension of my limbs. There's very few places where I'm okay with extending. I want my elbows pulled into my body. I want my knees pulled into my elbows, and I want to protect this knee-elbow space at all costs all the time. Beginners, they'll do this for you. They'll open that space for you. People who are getting a little more advanced, like I would say, high blue belt, purple belt, they'll make mistakes where they accidentally do it, but most of the time you'll have to force it. With black belts and very high level grapplers, you have to trick them with push-pull options and force it. They're never going to do it on their own. And if they do, it's probably a setup. Like I do this to my students all the time, and then they'll dive in for an underhook and I trap a triangle or something, right? So just make sure that when you're playing in any of these positions, we're trying to keep our knee-elbow space for ourselves. It's sacred space. What I tell my students, my knee-elbow space is my backyard, and I don't want you in my backyard looking through the windows while Aggie's taking a shower. You get what I'm saying? I'm trying to protect that space. So when we're here, if she dives her arm through and starts to sit out, I got to keep this elbow closed. Look, between her hips and the mat. This one's not so important because there's things that can come from this. Like effectively, I'm almost in an octopus guard with this one, right? So we can do motions that are very similar to our octopus guard motions, right? Now, this elbow, I can't let her lift my elbow over my head. So if she tried to scoop my elbow like she did earlier, she's just going to walk right over my arm, and I'm going to be able to create space. So she feels this. And I can also move her, like lift with this elbow, keep pressure, pushing her away. I can even frame here, right? Making it very hard for her to create opening for me. Now, when I talked earlier in this video about changing the dynamic of the guard, here's what I meant. If you just keep a half guard here, it's not, even if I have this elbow in the right spot, it's not going to be hard for her to use her elbow to push my knee and free her knee line and start playing options like 3/4 mount, etc. So when I get here, one of the first things I do is turn this into a butterfly hook, right? And now that I have this butterfly hook, I'm pulling with this leg and extending with this leg. So I create this push-pull, and it really latches me onto their leg. So if she tries to step her leg up and out, she tries to move that leg, it's really hard. She can't really move it. So this is where I really want to be from here. And now I can start playing sweeps, back takes, and all sorts of good options from here, okay? So let's look at the actual sweeps and motions we can get into. All right, so we're playing here. I've got my knee shield. She decides to dive her arm under, start going for reverse half, and I block here, okay? Now, one of the first things I look for as I start getting this butterfly hook is reaching around their shoulder and looking for my crossface. If her left elbow is really high in my armpit, I won't be able to do that. But it's rare that when people shoot this position that they're going to find that high elbow right away. So I'll look for that first. Boom. Okay? If I can get that crossface, sometimes I'll even relinquish this elbow to lock my hands. Okay? As long as I have this butterfly, it's going to be hard for her to bring her hips up like she did earlier, right? And now I can connect and start pulling her head towards my head. And now it's rather easy for me to lift with this leg. I relinquish my right leg, lift, and start bringing her through. Once she starts to fall, I can come up on top, start taking my 3/4 mount, right? Or even sit back into ninja rolls, things of that nature. Or even from here, when we land, maybe I start chasing the back from here and chair sits and things of that nature, right? So if I can get that crossface, it's going to be a rather easy sequence of events for me, right? If I can control where their head goes, I own the position. So again, we're here. She cuts through. I block the hips, okay, here. I switch to butterfly, playing here, and I crossface. If I can get this crossface, I can relinquish my elbow position on her hips. Now I can start pulling her head towards my head. Yeah, and now I can lift with my butterfly hook going here. From here, maybe I go chair sit. Maybe I come back and hit ninja rolls. All right? Now I have my back attacks, or maybe I just keep the mount. If I want to keep, if this was MMA, I would just keep the mount, keep my pressure, and look to beat on somebody, right? So that's a really good option if I can get that crossface, all right? But let's talk about the situation if maybe it's a really big shouldered person, big broad person, or when they cut through, they bring that elbow up right away, right? If I'm doing the one doing the attack and we're here, when I come through, it's not uncommon as I come through for me to really shoot my elbow up. So I'll come through and go boom, really high with my elbow. Get your arm in front of my face. See how it's like nothing? This is not going to control me. If anything, this is becoming a liability for her because now maybe I Kimura her, wrist lock her, right? Because this elbow is high. If I were here, she'd be able to wrap her arm around my face comfortably and really create pressure. Yeah? So for me, when I dive through, I slam that elbow up high. Not everybody does. And if they don't, then I can look for that crossface. But in the event that I can't get that crossface, there's still a lot of options we can get into, okay? All right, so now let's talk about the scenario if I can't get the crossface. What I'm gonna look to do is play reach around guards, you know, Octopus style, right? So let's say she cuts through, she goes here, I block, boom, and I can't get the crossface because her elbow's too high. I'm gonna go here. What I still do is I still look for this, yeah? Now again, I can relinquish my right leg control as I start to lift, and I could come on top, pulling her through. From here, if I wanted to, I can look to go into chair sit options, or I can just pull her all the way through, coming up on top and playing mount. If this is MMA, this is exactly where I'd go, pinning, looking to hit, looking to punch, and play my game here. If it's pure jujitsu or I'm grappling, I might go into ninja rolls and things of that nature, right? So it's the same, very similar motion, just one I control the head and one I don't. But sometimes when I go for this motion, people bridge into me or push into me so I can't knock them over. That opens up really good back takes. I did a video actually with Kurt Osiander maybe 9 years ago in San Francisco at Ralph Gracie Academy where he shows a gi version of this motion. And I love it. I've been doing it for most of my jiu-jitsu life, right? So we're starting in the half. She cuts through. I'm blocking. Boom, here. I'm going here. I get my butterfly hook and I start trying to sweep and she pushes into me. If she pushes into me, when she does, her hips have to come off the mat. So there's no way she can keep her hips down and push into me. It's just not gonna happen. And they don't have to rise so high, but just wide enough for my knee to come through, right? So I'm blocking, I'm driving, she's pushing into me, I bring this knee out, right? As I bring this knee out, now what I'm gonna look to do is press her through with this knee. Look, see how I'm driving her hips through with this knee? And I'm pointing my body towards hers. Once I get to this kind of square position where I'm pointed at the ceiling, now I can just hip escape. I already have my hook on this side, my left hook. So now look, I just hip escape, boom, and I attack the back, right? Let's look at that from another angle so you can see what's happening with my other leg. So we're here playing the half, she cuts through, I block the hips, okay? And now I'm gonna look to get my butterfly hook. I start trying to sweep and she pushes into me. Look, I bring this knee out, okay? I'm gonna start pressing my right knee towards the camera, pressing, here. Now you see I already have a hook with this leg, right? I already have my bottom hook, which is the important hook. I'm gonna hip escape out, get my control, look to start playing with whatever systems you like to play. I like straight jacket, so I'm gonna start playing my straight jacket systems from there. So if they sit out with their arm under your arm, we can play crossface sweeps, we can play octopus guard style sweeps, and we can play back takes if they push back into us, right? But there's one other scenario that we can get into, or that they can get into from here, and that's going into the Kimura, okay? So let's look at that from this same angle, and I'll show you guys from both sides what I like to do. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the scenario where when she cuts over to her reverse half guard position, she goes over my arm. So let's say we're here, she cuts over, boom, we're here. And now look, this arm is susceptible, right? I still have this elbow under her hips, and I'll show you from both angles. What I wanna make sure of here is that she can't get this hand behind my back. This is no good regardless of what I try to do, okay? So I make sure that I'm keeping this here, maybe grabbing my shorts, grabbing my gi. I can't let her put my hand posterior. And again, butterfly. Now what I know, if she has a Kimura grip, is that she's very attached to me. Look, see how I can move her with just my arm? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my elbow to the mat. Look, what that did is it lifted her hips. So I pull my elbow to the mat, I grab the knee, pick the knee up and scoop. And now, same exact motion. We're here, we have our back take, and Kimuras and toe holds, if you don't do them right with the right control, can notoriously lead to getting your back taken. She's not gonna finish this now. I'm gonna start choking. She needs to get defensive hands in place, and now I'm playing straightjacket, right? Let's look at that from the other angle. So again, playing here, she's gonna look to start sitting out. She goes, oh, over my arm, look, I'm blocking the hips. She starts locking up a Kimura. All that tells me is that I have control over her body now. I hook, boom. Now watch, I'm gonna pull this elbow to the mat. See how that lifted her hips? And now I go here. I lift with my butterfly hook, lift with my hand, boom, getting my knee behind her. Now I can press her forward with this knee, maybe push the hips if I have to, control, and now I take the back and start looking for all of my options, all right? All right, guys, there you have it. Jason, I hope that helps you out with some options there. Remember, when people do different variations of top half guard, because there's tons of variations. There's sit-outs towards the head, sit-outs towards the feet, near side underhook, far side underhook, cross faces on both sides. There's different things that people can do. If they sit out facing your feet, the first thing you need to make sure of is your near side elbow stays between their hip and the mat. You've got to close that elbow to your body. This is no good in jiu-jitsu. We need to be playing here, here. This is sacred space. Make sure you manage that space with the near side elbow, the elbow by the hip. If they're underneath your arm and you can get that crossface, easy sweeps, easy back takes, easy options, right? If you can't quite get there, it's almost an octopus guard style position, right? So we're looking for kind of octopus guard, butterfly sweeps. We're looking for octopus guard back takes. If we try to hit that sweep, they push into us, the hips come up, get your knee through, take the back. Now, if they go over your arm and they're playing that Kimura, I almost bait that. I'll be like, oh no, and then people will jump, they can't help it, right? It looks like such a good position, but if I have butterfly guard and you attack a Kimura on me and you're not playing Kimura trap, if you're actually going for a Kimura, I'm gonna take your back. I'm gonna take your back every time. So if they go for that Kimura, I move their body with that Kimura, lifting their hips, take their knee out of position, and I follow to the back. Really, really good attacks. I do it all the time, all the time. So again, I just want to say thank you so much to Mark Antoine and to my dude, Ramiro Garcia Jr. for joining the team. Don't forget to click that join button, become part of the squad. We're always here every Monday, except for last Monday, throwing some videos down. And when you guys have requests, I always try to get to them. So yeah, make sure you join the team, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we're posting stuff in the future. If you have anything you want to see in the future, throw it down in the comments and I will get to it. I almost always do. Again, I'm Andrew. This is Aggie. We're here at Nexus Jiu-Jitsu in Folsom. Try out the motion. Let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
It's gonna get your arm.
Nah! No, ow! What the hell? Ow!